I wanted it. I asked for it. Things happen at that age. I feel so bad for my father, honestly. I could feel the eyes on me. Me talking to him does not give him the right. And this teacher has the audacity to tell her. Imagine a female teacher is telling you about your daughter, that a child, a probably 11 to 16-year-old child, mind you. Are you a for applying lip balm in your classroom? Are you a slut for talking to boys in your classroom? Are you a slut for simply existing as a girl? That's what we are going to decode today in this video. So many of you all gave me feedback on my previous video, and so many of you all liked it, you all shared it, and you all showed me so much love, and I'm so grateful for that. From my heading, you must have understood what this video is about. If you are someone that has been through certain topics that I'm going to be discussing in this video, you can share your own opinions in the comments, and you can tell me how maybe I can improve my knowledge about these things in schools, in colleges, as a child, as a student, from teachers, people who have had authoritative positions in schools. I want to talk about them, and I want to talk about the kind of treatment that kids kind of face from them, from people who should be their mentors, from people who are expected to kind of be their guides, who are expected to be sensitive to them, because kids inherently do not know a lot of stuff. You do not know how what you say to them is going to be interpreted in their brains, because they are still growing and they do not have the kind of view of the world the way you have. So it's very important to understand that and behave in that way with kids. I'm here to particularly and specifically talk about slut shaming that openly goes on in schools, and nobody has any idea about it. And even if they do have an idea about it, people are just keeping quiet about it, and it's just very normalized. It's just very, very acceptable, and something that happens casually, and nobody really cares about it. A lot of people don't know what slut shaming is. Even though they might have experienced it themselves, they don't know that there's a term for it. Basically, slut shaming is when a female, mainly a female, a woman, a girl, is judged for something that is seen as sexual, which is talking to boys, which is not, sexual in nature, but that's what is kind of perceived as, because girls are apparently talking to guys only and only because they want that from them. You know what I'm talking about. School going kids are probably 11 to 16, I guess, because I was 16 when I was in the 10th standard. So 11 to 16-year-old kids who are like minors have to listen to things like this. Why do you have to apply lipstick? Who do you want to impress? Your skirt is too short. You shouldn't be wearing all these things. What are you trying to do? Are you trying to attract boys? A girl is trying to apply lip balm because she has chapped lips, and this teacher has the audacity to tell her that she's trying to impress her fellow boy classmates. A child, a probably 11 to 16-year-old child, mind you, they are minors. They are considered as kids. You're asking a child whether they are trying to have a romantic relationship, whether they are trying to attract boys. I remember whenever we used to have this assembly. So, assembly, I'm sure everybody knows what an assembly is. That part of school before your classes start, where you're like assembling in proper queues and you're saying prayers, saying the thought of the day and stuff like that. So, after the assembly, we had this special session where girls were told how they are pathetic, where girls were told how they are disgusting because they've applied a lip balm in winters, because they are wearing some kind of a sweater, which is apparently something that you do to drive the attention of boys towards you. I mean, I'm covering myself up. I'm wearing a sweater. I had a boy cut. I was very naive. I was very innocent. And I want to come back to why I was this way in the next section of the video. But I just wanted to say that I was very naive. I was very dumb looking. I'm very self-aware about that. And I wanted to do anything but to impress a boy, because at that age, you don't care about those things. Even if you like a boy, you were so scared for your life. You wouldn't want to be associated to any boy in any way. Coming back to the assembly part of things, even if your nails are a little bit long, I would be told that you are a shame to this society. You are not a good girl. I mean, I get that there's a certain dress code and there's a certain decorum that you need to follow in school. There's a code of conduct and all of those things. I get that. And of course, I respected it. Everybody respected it. But the fact that you're saying it in such a way that is very demeaning and very disgusting, that you're implying that a 11 to 16-year-old girl is trying to impress a boy, is trying to lure a boy, is trying to attract a boy. She only cares about her pink nail paint because she probably saw it in a Disney movie. Or maybe one of her cousins who came over just applied it on her nails because she wanted to apply nail paint on her nails. Or maybe she did it because she wanted to do it. It has nothing to do with boys. At that age, when you're so impressionable, when whatever your teachers say is like the ultimate truth for you, I have spoken about how parents are God and how we are so brainwashed to believe this. And we kind of make our life decisions based off of this, based off of what they tell us because we think that they are God, because this has been fed into our brains right from the beginning. I have spoken about this in my previous video, which we'll probably see here. Teachers are also very, very, very important. They play a very important role in a child's life after their parents, even more than parents actually, because as I said that for them teachers are the shit. And I say this because I used to always literally come back and tell my parents that, oh, my teacher told me this. At that time, we just want to be an adult. At least I wanted to be an adult so badly, so badly. And that adult figure is the teacher. And you want to be like them, like the way they can do whatever they want, right? So you kind of look up to them and you want to be like them. And when they say things to you, it really, really has an effect on you. I'm so grateful for free will. I'm so grateful that I'm an adult. I know that, adulting is hard. People say that, oh, I wish I could go back to my childhood. I do not want to go back to my childhood because my childhood was anything but amazing. Because, first of all, I did not have free will. I did not have confidence. I did not know self love because most Indian parents don't teach you self love, which is another thing that kind of is a reason for all these things. Imagine if a parent told you that whatever people say to you does not necessarily have to be correct, does not have to be the fact, does not have to be something that you have to agree with. But what happens, right, is that we live in a society and our parents live in a society. And sadly, a lot of parents only care about their reputation. So the moment somebody says something about their child, they get very upset and they get it hurts them. They take it very personally because in our Indian society, kids are a reflection of their parents, is what we say. People have this thing that, what did your parents teach you? This is the most used line, according to me, when I was a kid by teachers, that this what you learn at home? Is this what your parents teach you? Is this why your parents are sending you to school? Imagine hearing these things again and again and again. I used to hate parent-teacher meetings. My parents never supported me. My parents always supported the teacher. And I used to look over and I used to see other parents. They used to be like, no, he's not like this. He's not like this at home. They would talk about certain problems that he's facing. They would talk about certain things that maybe you can improve to kind of change his behavior, his or her behavior. But my parent was like, no, you hit her. You are right. Whatever you're saying about her is correct. I remember when I was in the 11th standard, one of my teacher, she was my Hindi teacher, and she always hated me for some reason. And I never can understand this thing where random teachers hate on random girls. They have these assumptions in their head about this particular girl, and those assumptions never change no matter what you do. One time what happened was that I kind of bunked my classes and I went out with a few friends of mine, and there were guys, there were girls and there were guys. And I was studying in a convent higher secondary school. It was a PUC, UC 11, 12 standard. And I bunked my classes and I went out with my friends, which is, if you now think about it, quite a normal behavior for a teenage student to do, right? I'm not saying that it's justified. I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying you should bunk your school, but it happened. Yeah, sue me, you know. So that happened, but the next day, of course, my dad was called, and there was this Hindi teacher that I told you about. This Hindi teacher, I don't know, there was this thing with Hindi teachers that they used to always talk in Hindi to your parents, even though you have your mother tongue, you have English, which we are told to speak in. But this teacher had this thing that she always wanted to speak in Hindi. Okay, even when you meet her in the corridor, she used to speak to you in Hindi. Even when you're after school, she used to speak to you in Hindi because she wanted to make sure that you know Hindi. Hindi has this very dramatic effect. So with that dramatic effect, she kind of said to my father that उसके पैर फिसल रहे हैं, वो अच्छे रास्ते पर नहीं है, वो गलत रास्ते पर जा रही है. And she said that to my father and he looked over at me. Like, imagine a female teacher is telling you about your daughter that उसके पैर फिसल रहे हैं. Imagine what will go through a father's head. Because he does not know the entire thing. He does not know the scenario. He does not know in what context she's saying it. So he's going to think about multiple scenarios in his head. And of course, I'm an overthinker, so naturally my father is an overthinker. So he looked over, and he was very scary, by the way. He looked over at me and he gave me that look, and I was like, I knew that day that I was dead. And it was not even because my father was mad at me. It was just that shame after she said those words, because those words are like very, very weird, right? Uske pair fisal rahe hain. It means that she is going to now maybe go get pregnant. Is that what she's trying to say? Because that's what your parent is going to think. Oh, maybe she's doing things with boys. Maybe she's doing stuff. But I wasn't. I just went out to go watch movies. It's not that deep. But she made it out to be that I was kind of on the wrong path. I'm doing something that nobody should be doing. And for the guys, it was like, ये बहुत मस्ती करता है. That's it. And for the girls, it was like, लड़कों से बात करना है बहुत ज़्यादा इनको. And I used to always have this thing, like, they used to always tell my father that I talk a lot. Okay, and I naturally, as a person, used to talk a lot in school, in class. I'm just a very talkative person in general, okay? So it doesn't matter who I'm talking to. I'm just generally very talkative. But whenever they used to tell my parents that I'm talkative, it used to always be like, she talks a lot with boys. Another thing is that right from the time you're a toddler, you're told that boys are forbidden, a taboo topic for girls. And you're not supposed to talk about boys. You're not supposed to talk about boys. You're not supposed to talk to boys. Even if you get a call from a guy at home, you are so scared. You're scared for your life. And I remember we used to have a landline. So every time I'd get a call, they'd know who is calling. So if a guy would call at home, it would be like, why is a guy calling her? Even if I would take the name of my classmate, like a guy classmate, while telling a story, it would just be like, everybody would suddenly turn and look. And because you are told that boys are forbidden, boys are forbidden, boys are forbidden, you kind of become this person who's scared of boys, who's scared of kind of talking to them, who's scared of interacting with them, who's just scared of the idea of boys. I remember when I was in the 5th standard, I wasn't able to really interact with boys. And as a result of which, this is another trigger warning that I want to give about bullying and ragging. So if that is something that is sensitive to you, please don't continue. Because I was so awkward with boys, it kind of showed on my face that I didn't know how to deal with them. Because I was always told that you're not supposed to talk to boys. So even though I had friends as a child who were boys, as a prepubescent girl who is first of all awkward because of her changing body, because of all the school pressure, because of so many other things that a prepubescent child has to probably go through, you have this one more thing on your head that you now have to interact with boys, but in your subconscious you are trained that boys are prohibited. Like, you cannot talk to them, you should not talk to them. If they come to know, then what will happen? And you don't know the consequences. They just keep telling you, don't go to boys, don't go to boys. And you don't know why they are telling you these things, because they just say, just listen to me, don't ask questions. And you can't even ask questions. You can't even be like, why am I not supposed to talk to them? So it's something that is very uncertain to you. And when there's uncertainty, there's always fear. You don't know why something is going to happen or what is going to happen. You are always going to be scared. You're always going to be awkward. So I was naturally very awkward around boys. So I used to not be able to talk to boys. And when you are awkward around somebody, they pick up on it. When you're most vulnerable when you do not, you're not confident in yourself around somebody, and they pick up on it. These boys started picking up on my energy because every other girl was like, probably, I'm sure there are exceptions, but probably all other girls that I was friends with in my circle, they were pretty chill with guys, and nobody kind of went to mess with them. But I was, because of this idea in my head, I feel like I was bullied, or they kind of found me as a target, as an easy target, because I didn't know how to deal with it. And this is not to say that, oh, because I was this, they did this. Bullying on all levels is wrong, it's a crime. This is just to give you the context of why these things happen. So I was naturally very awkward with boys, and they started bullying me. I would be called names, and I was a boy cut. I didn't have long hair like how I have now. I was a proper boy cut till I was in the eighth grade. And my name is Mitwa, and my surname is Bhagat. So Mitwa is, of course, they used to sing songs for me because there's so many songs from my name. And my surname is Bhagat, so they would call me Bhagat Singh. So all these things used to happen, and I used to not like it, but I used to not be able to say anything, you know. I used to not be able to strictly say no, stop it. Imagine at that time, prepubescent guys full of hormones, collectively as a group attacking you, and versus me, who's awkward, who thinks boys are prohibited, who thinks talking to boys is wrong, who in her subconscious thinks that she isn't supposed to talk to them, that they are uncharted territory. You know, you don't know why your parents have told you not to talk to them. So you're just super awkward, you don't know what to do, you don't know how to handle the situation. So they keep doing it more. Or you get triggered, you show them that you get angry. And the thing with bullies is that when you are angry, when you show them any kind of reaction, they keep doing it more. They like it. So I was not able to ignore it as well. I used to get awkward, I used to fumble. As a result of which, I wanted to prove myself to them. I wanted validation from them. I wanted to kind of get into their good books so that I'm not bullied anymore. You get it? I don't know if it makes sense, but that's just how my brain worked at that time. So I started giving them the benefit of the doubt. I started trying to be friends with them. I would try to fit in because there was this whole group in my class with girls and boys, which I was kind of a part of and not as well, because I was somehow a target. And once you have a target on you, you are going to be a target forever. If a collective group sees you in a certain way, a popular group, then the other kids as well are going to look at you in that way. So that's something that started happening. And around this time was when I was at my peak of trying to seek validation from these boys who were constantly attacking me, who were constantly calling me names, who were constantly making fun of me. And I was called out, along with a few friends of mine, other girlfriends of mine, I was called out. And you know, things happen at that age. They say something to you that they like you or something like that. You kind of feel good because you have been bullied for such a long time by these guys that if they give you some kind of a positive attention, you feel good. And you kind of do not really reciprocate it, but you cannot say no either. Because that's the thing, right, with guys. Because what if you say no to them and then this bullying gets worse? Even today, women are scared to say no. They'd rather keep quiet than say no to a guy. And when you stay quiet, being quiet equals yes, apparently. So when they say stuff like, okay, what if we are a thing? What if, you know, whatever. So this things kind of started going around, and then you have slam books, you have stuff. One of our teachers found the slam book, and we literally were writing stuff about like crushes and all of that. And somebody had written my name. I did not write somebody's name, somebody had written my name. And of course, there were some other girls involved as well, my friends. And then we were called out. The boys who wrote our names on their slam books were not called out because the slam book was mine and my name was on it as a crush. So around 3 to 4 of us were called out of the classroom, and we were asked, why is your name on the slam book as a crush? And we are like, but we did not write it is not our fault, we did not. And at that time we couldn't even say this. Like, I'm saying this now that we did not write it, but at that time we did not. We were so brainwashed and so conditioned to believe that maybe if a guy likes me, it's my fault. Maybe I provoked him somehow. Maybe somehow I invited him. Maybe I wanted it or I asked for it. Right? And again, this was a Hindi teacher. I don't know what's with these Hindi teachers. Like, they just don't have a life. This Hindi teacher, again, um, called my father. I feel so bad for my father, honestly, because imagine your daughter being called a. I mean, they didn't use the word, but of course, they insinuated it. They wanted to refer to that in proper corporate terms. Again, I was in the seventh standard at the time, and teacher telling something like this to your father, it just crushes you, because firstly you never want your father to know anything about you when it comes to all these things. Like, you just want to disappear when something like this happens and your father knows about it, like especially like boy drama or anything to do with anything romantic that you're linked with. Like, you do not want your father to know about it at that age, and even now you do not want your father to know about it. And I was feeling so guilty, and along with other friends of mine, you cannot talk to anybody about these things because you feel that you are wrong. You feel like you have brought shame to your parents. You feel like you've brought shame to yourself, and that guilt just crushes you. And after these incidents, you kind of become a target for these teachers. You are kind of picked on. You are told to stand up whenever there's a difficult question. You're the one who's asked to answer it. And when you don't know it, they say stuff like, this is what happens when you talk to boys. This is what happens when you're interested in other things. This is what happens when you're doing everything else but study. And what does that everything else mean? What are you insinuating? What are you trying to say? And as an overthinker, I used to think about these things so much. And whenever these things used to be brought up in class in front of everybody, of course, as a kid, your self esteem is going to be crushed. You are going to be so shameful, and everybody is going to look at you in a certain way. And I could feel the eyes on me. I could feel the eyes of these boys who bully me. I could feel the eyes of these boys who wrote about me that I'm their crush, and for which I was blamed. It kind of gives them that validation that what they are doing is right. And then from there, that bullying continued. Like, they would. Prepubescent boys are something else as a species. And I'm not saying this about all guys, but like these troublemakers, these mischief makers in class, they are like, I don't think I would ever want to be alone in a room with a prepubescent guy. Even today, I would not, because they're just so unpredictable, and they're just so scary, honestly. They're just so dangerous. Like, they can have that impact on you as a girl. As a 13-year-old, they can impact you in so many ways. Just the kind of things they say, or just the kind of names they call you, just the kind of way they look at you. And this has to come down to the fact that girls are the ones who are blamed for everything. Even if you talk to a guy, it's your fault. Nobody sees the fact that the guy was talking back to the girl. I feel like it's mostly because female teachers, it mostly happens with female teachers, of course. And I feel like it's kind of the projection of their own insecurities. I don't know, somebody said this once, that they're kind of jealous of the female students. Why do you have to be jealous of a 13-year-old? Why is a 40-year-old teacher who has kids, who has a husband, who has a whole different life, competing with a 12-year-old when she comes to school, when she comes to teach? It's the internalized misogyny, it's the internalized patriarchy that kind of was fed into her because she was treated the same way as a child somewhere. So when she kind of becomes the authority figure, in order to control the narrative, in order to control those people, because of course, as a teacher, you have to be able to control. You're told that you have to control a class. And how do you control them? By controlling the girls in the class. Because when you control the girls in the class, the boys are controlled automatically. Because when you hate the girls, the guys like you. I don't know. I'm not the one who said it. When you hate girls, guys automatically like you. And this has always been a thing, at least in my school. When guys used to see that a teacher is kind of not favoring girls, they used to automatically behave well in her class. They used to automatically be like, oh, this is my favorite teacher because she favors guys. And that's the way you control a class, because girls are, of course, demeaned, they're embarrassed, they are ashamed of themselves because you have made them feel ashamed of themselves, because apparently it's their mistake that guys are troubling them because they were probably asking for it. Why is he targeting you? You must have done something to provoke him. You must have done something that he's bullying you. You need to stop talking to them. They cross question you. So this is a classic case of victim blaming. They cross question you saying that, why? What did you do? Oh, is it because you talk to guys so much? Oh, is it because I saw you the other day talking to him and like running around with him during your recess, during your break time? Me talking to him does not give him the right. And the same thing happens into your adulthood. Whatever men are doing to you is a reaction to what you have done. Whatever men do is a reaction to your action. That's how you kind of systematically break a girl and her confidence. Trust me, with every video that I post, I'm going to tell you the things that have happened with you and I'm going to give a name to it. I'm going to make you understand that the things that have happened with you are not right. Even though it is very normalized in our culture, even though it is considered as normal, happens, chalta rehta hai kind of stuff, which is, it is not. Nahi chalna chahiye. It happens, but it should not. That's the thing. It happens, but it should not. And this is not out of concern, okay? Some of you might think that maybe the teacher is just concerned. This is not out of concern. This is just to take that power back. Because they know that when you tell a girl these kind of things, she is going to just be quiet. It's going to affect her self esteem. She's going to feel like, I'm doing something very wrong if I'm talking to a guy. And when you tell these things to her parent, of course, she's going to get those eyes at home as well. So she's going to be judged at home, she's going to be judged in school. And imagine living in constant shame. That just kills your self esteem. So if a girl is confident, if a girl is very bubbly, they just drain the life out of you by saying these things about you. Because apparently, even being confident as a girl, even being bubbly as a girl, even being talkative as a girl is kind of provocative. And I'm not saying this, but this is something that happens. This is something that I have experienced myself. And it only happens with girls because once you control girls, you can control guys easily, right? When girls are hated on, somehow guys like that. Especially with a female teacher. When a female teacher does not like girls, guys like that. Guys look at that teacher as, it's kind of that thing, right? Where, let's take the example of Sydney Sweeney. A lot of women are calling Sydney Sweeney out. She's sexualizing herself. I'm a feminist. She wants to do whatever she wants to do and she can do that. But a lot of women hate her. And now men are liking her even more because women hate her. Get what I'm trying to say? So that's kind of the logic here. So if a particular teacher is hated by girls, men are going to crush on that teacher. Men are going to like boys are going to love that teacher that much more. Another reason why this happens is because you go against the teacher sometimes. So sometimes when I used to question a particular teacher a lot, she would target me. And this is her way probably of taking that power back so that I do not question her authority. Basically, like, you shouldn't have said that to me. This is what happens because you said that. Because you did this, I'm now doing this. So you should not do that. You should stop questioning me. Third thing is that teachers have certain expectations from their students, which is they kind of perceive somebody as a troublemaker. So even if this thing happens once, even if I'm talking to a guy just once, the teacher has already made an expectation of me in her head, like what she has to expect from me. The next time she steps into the classroom, this is what I am in her head. I am somebody who talks to guys. So the moment she has that bias towards me, that I am a girl who talks to guys, she is always going to perceive me as that. One thing can be that she's projecting. Basically, a girl who's talking to a guy or laughing with him or doing something that she thinks is wrong, because in her head she is been internalizing all these things, that talking to a guy is wrong, talking or laughing with a guy is kind of shows your character. The fifth thing is something called as moral panic, which is also called as respectability politics, which is basically like, you know how adolescents, kids kind of always tend to show risky behavior. Even if a child or like an adolescent is not doing anything particularly risky. For example, if we see a guy who is probably like 14-year-old or 15-year-old, if he's going somewhere out, we automatically think in our head that, oh, probably he's going out to maybe smoke. So we just automatically start looking at them as a problem because they can potentially do it. So just say it, just so that we can kind of think that we are doing something about it and we are calling them out for their behavior, even though they are probably not doing it. For a topic that is considered so taboo in our society and in our schools, and for something that they are so scared of happening, they're not very discreet about it. They're not trying to keep it very low key. They're being very obvious with it, especially with girls. Like, are you trying to get pregnant? I'm sure that this is something that teachers have said, okay? I'm not even making this up. Like, it's so unhinged to me. It's so crazy. Like, I cannot imagine a teacher saying that. You're talking to a minor like that. This is not a culture. Moral policing women is like a hobby in India. A 13-year-old in a classroom full of students who are also 13-year-olds who do not know what you're talking about is probably a teacher's best skill. Half the teachers don't know how to teach, but they know very well how to give you those tests. While yourself wearing the darkest lipstick, wearing the highest heels, and this is not me trying to judge her for what she's wearing, but it's just the double standard. Who are you trying to impress? You are married already, so who are you trying to impress? It is not a fashion show for you as well, so why are you dressed up like that? I'm sure that every female teacher gets to hear these kind of things, that maybe you're not supposed to wear that. What will these little adolescent boys think of you? And probably that's what they're kind of projecting on these little girls. I don't know. But this topic was very difficult to cover because it's a very sensitive topic and I don't want to make mistakes. So I am again reaffirming that this is something that I have experienced myself and I'm talking through my own experiences. I'm not implying anything. I'm not saying that this is what happens with every student, but this happens. Now I have understood these things and I've kind of tried to not internalize those things, because I had at one point I had internalized it so much that I used to believe these things about myself, that okay, this is what I am. If they have said this about me, this is what I am. And because of all the bullying, because of all the kind of things that I was told, the way I was kind of perceived by everyone, because of one teacher saying that about me, or because a group of people saying that about me, I was perceived in a certain way that okay, this is my identity now, which I have of course worked on myself, and I've kind of started to understand that their truth is not my truth, their truth is not the reality. Even though people try to make you feel that way, they try to make you feel that what they think about you is right, they know you the best, but whatever they perceive, whatever preconceived notions that they have about you, is it's all their reality, it's not your reality. What they think about you is their problem. What you think about yourself is your problem. You can control what you think about yourself. To every girl that is probably going through something like this right now, because I'm sure that every girl has kind of experienced these things, I want to tell you that please, I know it's easier said than done, but it is not your fault for being certain way, for being loud, for being confident about yourself, for being bubbly, for smiling, just being a happy person in general. They just literally suck the soul out of you. They make you into this person because that's what the society wants, especially from girls. They do not want us to be happy. And that is also the curriculum in schools in India, in a lot of schools. It is not in your syllabus, but it is happening. That system is there. And you will not even know that it's happening, but it is happening to you. So please be aware about these things. And to adults who have experienced this when they were kids, if you're still holding that guilt, even today, if you feel like people are talking about those things, trust me, nobody cares. And you shouldn't either. It shows their own projections about themselves. And if you need help, please reach out to your loved ones. I know it's difficult to talk about these things because in this culture, in our society, victim blaming is something that is a part of our culture. It's like something that has to happen. And with that, I want to end today's video. I may not be an expert on these topics, I may not be somebody who knows everything about everything, but I just want to talk. I just want to talk about the stuff that's happened to me and the stuff that goes on around. And that's the only intent I have. Again, I'm saying that that's what I want to do with my platform. I want you guys to have a platform. I want you guys to be able to openly talk about these things that are taboo and considered as something that nobody should talk about. If you like this video, please subscribe, please like, please comment about your experiences. And yeah, with that, I want to say ciao. I will see you very, very soon. And I love you so much. Be yourself, love yourself, trust yourself.